So this is the forward. Can you cut that light on your way over there? Just that one right there. I look angelic. Oh, maybe it looks pretty bright in here. This is the forward that's on eSword. That's that tool that I use. I don't know if you guys recall, where it's use the Bible in Greek, Hebrew, so on and so forth. This is essentially what it says. This book records two numberings of the host, the first at Sinai and the second 38 years after on the threshold of Canaan. It is also the book of the wilderness wanderings and contains the story of journey, service, and vicissitude. It is therefore a valuable guidebook to the church in her present stage. And then they just have a note here for us too. This is a census. God numbers his jewels. He keeps an inventory of his people. Not one of them is omitted, however weak or unworthy. In thy book, all thy members are written. We must be able to tell our pedigree, i.e., we must be assured of our regeneration into God's family. If we are doubtful about childship to God, we shall be fit for neither campaigning nor fighting. The secret of failure always lies here. The Levites were not included because, in a very special sense, they belong to God. So, and we'll talk about that once we get into it. With that being said, I'm just going to start the reading. There's a few slides that I have in here, but most of it is at face value because it's just a lot of text and numbers. So let's get on it. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the second month in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the numbers of their names, every male by their polls, from 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel, thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. Okay, so quick recap. We are in the book of Numbers, right? So prior to this is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers. This, when we refer to the Exodus, it's referring to the nation of Israel exiting Egypt, right? And that's where we see right now this particular document is speaking of while they were still in the wilderness, right? It's going to speak of the wilderness wanderings and things like that. So to get your guys' mind right, we just came out of Egypt, right? Big Mike, if you can hear me, there were 10 plagues that occurred in Egypt. Name 2.
Locusts.
All right, Michelle and Mike pretty much had the exact same answer at the same time. I don't know if you could hear her.
I heard her say darkness.
Darkness and locusts. Go ahead, Levi.
Every firstborn in Egypt died.
That's right. That was the last one. And you got another one or no? We got the fleas. We had the livestock that died. We had the river that turned to blood. We had frogs.
Disease.
Yeah, we had animals that died. Okay, buddy, now's not the time to say hi. We'll say hi after, okay? So we've just left Egypt. We've just had the parting of the Red Sea. They're out in the wilderness of Sinai. This is their second year out there, okay? And we see that here in the first verse where it says, in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt. So with that being mindful, we're taking a census. So continuing on and with you there shall be a man of every tribe, every one head of the house of his fathers. And these are the names of the men that shall stand with you. Of the tribe of Reuben, Eliezer, the son of Shadur. Of Simeon, Shelumiel, the son of Zurishaddai. Of Judah, Nahshon, the son of Amminadab. Of Issachar, Nathaniel, the son of Zuar. Of Zebulun, Eliab, the son of Helon. Of the children of Joseph, of Ephraim, Elishama, and the son of Ammihud. Of Manasseh, Gamaliel, the son of Pedahuzur. Of Benjamin, Abidin, the son of Gedoni. Of Dan, Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai. Of Asher, Pagiel, the son of Okran. Of Gad, Elisaph, the son of Duel. Of Naphtali, Ahira, the son of Enan. These were the renowned of the congregation, princes of the tribes of their fathers, heads of the household, heads of thousands in Israel. And Moses and Aaron took these men, which are expressed by their names, and they assembled them all by the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls. As the Lord commanded Moses, so he numbered them in the wilderness of Sinai. So, in typical fashion, I wrote down the names as they appeared, and this was the names that appeared. Reuben, Simeon, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin, Dan, Asher, Gad, and Naphtali. Okay? What I thought was interesting here is that is 11. There's only 11 noted there. But as Shelley brought up, how many tribes of Jacob, the 12 tribes of Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel, also that was Jacob's name as well. But there were 12 of them, correct?
Yes.
So who's left out?
Levi.
All right. I don't know. You guys all caught that real quick. So the person that is left out, and you guys can see here on the 12 tribes of Israel, we have Abraham and Sarah begat Isaac. Isaac and Rebekah begat Jacob. Jacob through Leah had Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. And there was a Dinah in there as well. Leah's servant, Zilpah, gave him Gad and Asher. Jacob served for Rachel, the younger sister, whom he loved. She had Joseph and Benjamin. And then her servant had Dan and Naphtali. Okay? So there's all 12 of them there. What's interesting to know is that in that genealogy, even though Levi is missing, there's still 12 personages. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. So moving on to verse 20, it says, and the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son by their generations and after their families by the house of their fathers, according to their numbers of names, by their polls, every male from 20 years old and upward that were able to go forth to war. Okay, so we just talked about the one tribe that's missing, that isn't accounted for in the census. Why do you think the tribe of Levi is not there?
They were to take care of the sanctuary.
They were
Yeah,
the priests. Yes, they were. Exactly. You guys are right. That was they had specific tasks that were appointed to care for the tabernacle, to prepare for it to move. They had specific roles that they had for themselves. And you'll note that as Moses is writing this down and categorizing it, this last statement, it says all that were able to go forth to war. So the families that we're speaking about here are absent from the Levites. They're the Levites, I should say. Hey, sorry, I have a Levi. No. So, anyways, we're going to move on from that. Verses 21 through 30. Those who were numbered of the tribe of Reuben were 46,500. From the children of Simeon, their genealogies by their families, by their father's houses, those who were numbered according to the number of names, every male individually from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war. Those who were numbered of the tribe of Simeon were 59,300. From the children of Gad, their genealogies by their family, by their father's house, according to the numbers of names, from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war. Those who were numbered of the tribe of Gad were 45,650. Now, I'm going to let you guys know right now, Shelley normally beats me up about speaking too fast, but you guys will notice that there's a large repeated phrase over and over again, and I am just going to read quickly because this is a very long section. Is everyone okay with that?
Yep.
Just pay attention to the first. Pay attention to the first name and then the number. Okay. From the children of Judah, their genealogies by their families, by their father's house, according to the number of names from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war, those who were numbered of the tribe of Judah were 74,600. From the children of Issachar, their genealogies by their families, by their father's house, according to the numbers of their names from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war, those who were numbered of the tribe of Issachar were 54,400. From the children of Zebulun, their genealogies by their families, by their father's house, according to the numbers of names, by from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war, those who were numbered of the tribe of Zebulun were 57,400. From the sons of Joseph, the children of Ephraim, their genealogies by their families, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war. Those who were numbered of the tribe of Ephraim were 40,500. From the children of Manasseh, their genealogies by their families, by their father's house, according to the numbers of names, from 20 years old and above, and all who were able to go to war, those who were numbered of the tribe of Manasseh were 32,200. From the children of Benjamin, their genealogies by their families, by their father's house, according to the numbers of names, from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war, those who were numbered of the tribe of Benjamin were 35,400. From the children of Dan, their genealogies by their families, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war, those who were numbered of the tribe of Dan were 62,700. From the children of Asher, their genealogies by their families, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war, those who were numbered of the tribe of Asher were 41,500. And from the children of Naphtali, their children, or their genealogies by their families, by their father's house, according to the numbers of names, from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war, those who were numbered with the tribe of Naphtali were 53,400. These are the ones who were numbered, whom Moses and Aaron numbered with the leaders of Israel, 12 men, each one representing his father's house. So all who were numbered of the children of Israel by their father's house, from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war in Israel, all who were numbered were 603,550. So I want you guys to note something here. It says, these are the ones who were numbered, whom Moses and Aaron numbered with the leaders of Israel, 12 men. We just established earlier that there were 12 tribes of Jacob, and that one was distinctly set apart, which were the Levites. Why do we have 12 here?
I'd have to write it down. Are you sure there's 12?
There's 12, and the scripture says right here, 12 men. And so you're aware, I wrote down all 12 names and I wrote down all 12 numbers, and they do add up to 603,550. I checked. So what is interesting to note here is Joseph was one of the 12 sons of Jacob. And remember, Joseph was sold into slavery. We read that story. It was a wonderful story, how he was sold off into slavery, but he had these dreams and visions about how his sheaves would bow down, even the sun and the moon would bow down to him, and his brothers wanted to kill him, so they cast him in a pit. He was sold into slavery because of his coat, and he had his coat of many colors, and he was an interpreter of dreams for the Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh put him in command. He was the second in command of all of Egypt, and they had this great famine, and Joseph preserved them until the point to where his brothers came to the land of Egypt because the famine was so fierce. And it was at that time that, there was this whole event that transpires, and his father ends up coming to him and says, essentially, and I don't like to I don't like to murder the text, so to speak, but from a 30,000 foot view, his father says to him, I'm shocked that I never thought I would be able to see you again, and yet here I am to see your two boys. And he blesses his two boys. His two boys were Manasseh and Ephraim. And if we look at this text here and go back a little bit, it says from right, oh my goodness, where's it at? Those who, okay, here it is right here. From the sons of Joseph, the children of Ephraim, their genealogies by their families, by their fathers, according to they were from 20 years old, and those who were numbered of the tribe of Ephraim were 1,500. And from the children of Manasseh, Manasseh was the son of Joseph. So we see that Joseph, who represents one of the 12 tribes, it's as if his sons received a double portion. So there are 12 individuals, but Joseph is represented by his two sons. And if you guys recall, his sons receive a blessing when Jacob blesses all of his kids. He gives a blessing to the two kids. And what was unique about it is that he gave a blessing to the younger over the elder. And that was a big deal. It was always the eldest is the firstborn, so on and so forth. And he said, no, I'm not mistaken in what I've done. For in this instance, the elder will serve the younger. And so here we see in Numbers that there's 12 individuals, and yet one of the tribes is removed, and yet it's still fulfilled by the two sons through Joseph. So it makes 12. It all works cohesively. It just, there were things that jumped out to me on that. I was like, hang on a second. This doesn't make any sense. So if we were to continue to read on to verse 47, like everyone did, because everyone was able to provide the answer on why the Levites were not numbered, it says, but the Levites were not numbered among them by their father's tribe, for the Lord had spoken to Moses, saying, only the tribe of Levi you shall not number, nor take a census of them among the children of Israel, but you shall appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of the testimony, over all its furnishings and over all things that belong to it. They shall carry the tabernacle and all its furnishings. They shall attend to it and camp around the tabernacle. And when the tabernacle is to go forward, the Levites shall take it down. And when the tabernacle is to be set up, the Levites shall set it up. The outsider who comes near shall be put to death. The children of Israel shall pitch their tents, everyone by his own camp, everyone by his own standard, according to their armies. But the Levites shall camp around the tabernacle of the testimony, that there may be no wrath on the congregation of the children of Israel. And the Levites shall keep charge of the tabernacle of the testimony. Thus the children of Israel did, according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so they did. Do you guys remember why the Levites were chosen? Don't feel bad if you don't, because I didn't either. I looked it up. There was an instance where there was, I want to say it was idolatry amongst the camp. And Moses asked people to come forth, and it was 1,000 Levites that came forth, and they slew their brothers because of the essentially the whoring that they had done with other gods. And so it seems as though they were set apart for that reason. They were active. So chapter 2, verses 1 through 9, and the Lord spoke to Moses, and that'll be a good homework assignment for you guys. Let's write that down now, so before I forget, is to look up why God chose the Levites, and we will talk about that next week. Just validate what I just said. That way, in case I'm wrong, you could say, oh, you said, no. Let's go back and let's find out why God chose the Levites. Because I should have put a slide on that, and I didn't. Shame. So, moving on. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, every one of the children of Israel shall camp by his own standard beside the emblems of his father's house. And they shall camp some distance from the tabernacle of meeting, on the east side, toward the rising of the sun. Those of the standard of the forces with Judah shall camp according to their armies. And Nahashon, the son of Amminadab, shall be the leader of the children of Judah. And his army was numbered at 74,600. Those who camp next to him shall be the tribe of Issachar. And Nathaniel, the son of Zuar, shall be the leader of the children of Issachar. And his army was numbered at 54,400. Then comes the tribe of Zebulun, and Eliab, the son of Helon, shall be the leader of the children of Zebulun. And his army was numbered at 57,400. All who were numbered according to their armies of the forces with Judah, 186,400. These shall break camp first. So the first camp is, where are they camping? On which side of the tabernacle?
East.
East. He used to meet me on the east side. Right? Okay. Now let's talk about the south side. On the south side shall be the standard of the forces with Reuben according to their armies. And the leader of the children of Reuben shall be Eliezer, the son of Shadur. And his army was numbered at 46,500. Those who camp next to him shall be the tribe of Simeon. And the leader of the children of Simeon shall be Shelumiel, the son of Zurashadai. And his army was numbered at 59,300. Then comes the tribe of Gad, and the leader of the children of Gad shall be Elisaph, the son of Ruel. And his army was numbered at 45,650. And all who were numbered according to their armies of the forces with Reuben were 151,450, and they shall be the second to break camp. So we have east side and south side, right? East side and south side of what? And the tabernacle of meeting shall move out with the camp of the Levites in the middle of the camps as they camp. So they shall move out, everyone in his place by their standards. So we have to the left and we have to the south. And when we say to the left and to the south of what, it is the center which resides, that is where the tabernacle resides. So the camps are moving, we have left and south right now. So now we're on the right. On the west side shall be the standard of the forces with Ephraim according to their armies. And the leader of the children of Ephraim shall be Elishama, the son of Ammihud, and his army was numbered at 40,500. Next to him comes the tribe of Manasseh. The leader of the children of Manasseh shall be Gamaliel, the son of Peduhuzur, and his army was numbered at 32,200. Then comes the tribe of Benjamin, and the leader of the children of Benjamin shall be Abidan, the son of Gideoni, and his army was numbered at 35,400. All who were numbered according to their armies of the forces with Ephraim, 108,100, and they shall be the third to break camp. The standard of forces with Dan shall be on the north side according to their armies, and the leader of the children of Dan shall be Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai, and his army was numbered at 62,700. Those who camp next to him shall be the tribe of Asher, and the leader of the children of Asher shall be Pagiel, the son of Okran, and his army was numbered at 41,500. Then comes the tribe of Naphtali, and the leader of the children of Naphtali shall be Ahira, the son of Enan, and his army was numbered at 53,400. All who were numbered of the forces with Dan, 157,600. And they shall break camp last with their standards. These are the ones who were numbered of the children of Israel by their fathers' houses. All who were numbered according to their armies of the forces were 603,550. But the Levites were not numbered among the children of Israel, just as the Lord God commanded Moses. Thus the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So they camped by their standards, and so they broke camp, each one by his own family, according to their own fathers. Okay, so at face value, we're given a census right now of all men who are to be prepared for battle. The numbers that we see here is not the census of the population. It is just males who are 20 and older who are prepared for battle, right? Now, we're all good with that. There's we are given the details for whatever reason. Now, you guys know I'm a fan of Chuck Missler. I know not everyone's a fan of Chuck Missler for several different types of reasons, but he has an insight to this particular arrangement of camps that is purely conjecture. It's something that he's looked into and created a little graph to try and get a better understanding of maybe what might be an additional note on this particular study with all of these various names. And I'm going to share some insight with you guys on his video here.
Behind most of their standards. So they're the last. So you got 4 camps, 3 tribes each. And
so we've already talked about, I've skimmed a lot of his video. I don't know if you guys can see that. I just want to get to this one part. We've already talked about the 4 camps. We had 1 camp in the center, which was the Levites, so it's technically 5, but that the 4 camps were around the tabernacle. It was north, east, south, and west, right? And that's what he's going to talk about here.
The Levites, the tabernacle right in the middle. And there are the numbers. Now, you're probably wondering, gee, Chuck, that was tedious. I'm going to show you something that, well, it'll be right. Well, I'll mention right now, I have a theory that nothing in the scripture is there by accident. Everything in the scripture is there by deliberate design, part 1. Part 2, that design always points to Jesus Christ. And one of the fun games you can play when you're in a small group of people that are serious about their Bible is try to find something that violates that presumption. And you say, Chuck, here's a great one. I got all these numbers. What's that got to do with anything? I mean, by now you're drowning in numbers. What do I do with those? I'll point out to you that God always rewards the diligent. So we'll look at something here shortly. These are those which are numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their fathers. All those that were numbered of the camps throughout their hosts were 600,000 and 3,550. But the Levites were not numbered among the children of Israel as the Lord commanded Moses. And the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So they pitched by their standards, so that they set forward everyone after their families according to the house of their fathers. I might mention something else, by the way. You'll notice it said that Levites are not numbered. So here are these 4 camps: Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun, Reuben, Simeon, and Gad, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin, Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. We have their numbers. If you add those numbers, you will get the population of each of the 4 camps. And we're not through yet. What do you say, G-Tech, what do I do with that? Well, let's back up here. The tabernacle is in the middle of the camp. Around the tabernacle, you have the Levites. The Kohathites, Gershonites, Merarites is the 3 families, but Moses and the priests, which are the core group, on the east side. The east side is, of course, the key side. Now, I have no idea how much space they took the camp. We'll learn later that there's about 22,000 of them that are more than a month old. Now, if you take that number plus their wives and families and whatever, that you have 2 or 3 times that, whatever, that number of people is not a small place, right? But that is the camp of the Levites. And they're the reference point for the rest of the camp. Now, you're going to need to follow me here. You've got to pretend you're Jewish. You do understand how hard the rabbis try to keep what they believe the law is saying. We often accuse them of splitting hairs, but they try very hard to do what it literally says. We could learn some lessons from them, perhaps. The camp of Judah was instructed to camp east of the Levites. That sounds simple, but it's not. The camp of Reuben was instructed to camp south of the Levites. Well, no problem. If you're going to be strictly obedient to the instructions of the Torah, that denies you the opportunity to camp southeast of the tabernacle of the Levites. Because if you're southeast, you're not east or south. You're in between. And only the cardinal directions are ordained for the camping. So you have to figure out how wide the Levites are camping and stay within that range if you're going to stay east of the Levites. You follow me? Now, and your length, then you take proportional to whatever you need for population. So here are the Levites. The camp of Judah is on the east side. Their symbol is the lion, incidentally, the lion of the tribe of Judah. And so they can camp as wide as the Levites have staked out for themselves. As long, whatever that is, they can, as long as they're east of that, they're obedient. The same, likewise, Reuben. His symbol was the man, incidentally. So there again, they can camp as wide as the Levites have staked out, no wider, and they take whatever depth they need for their people. If somebody tries to camp between these two, he's neither east nor south. That's verboten. So likewise, okay, we have these 4 zones: southeast, southwest, northwest, northeast, that would be in effect prohibited. Ephraim is on the west side. His symbol was the ox, the symbol of service. And then we have on the north side the tribe of Dan, which ultimately became the eagle, was the symbol of the tribe of Dan. And we have the 4 camps of Israel. Now we add to this the fact that we know what the populations are. We don't know their absolute population, but we have relative figures. In other words, whatever the number going to war, I think would be reasonably statistically indicative of what the total population is. We have about 186,000 in Judah, 151,000 in Reuben, camp of Reuben, and we have about 108,000 in the camp of Ephraim, and about 157 in the camp of Dan. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to embark on a magical helicopter. Outside, I've got parked a special Jet Ranger, and this one's a very unusual one because it's also a time machine. So we're all going to, in our mind's eye, get in this helicopter, And as we fly over to Israel, we're going to crank it back about what, 4,000 years, and 3,000 some, and we're going to approach the camp of Israel from the east side. And as we approach the camp of Israel, we'll see, of course, right in the center of it, the tabernacle and the Levites. But as we begin to appreciate, this is basically a sketch of the camp of Israel made to scale. I'm using the tribe of the area of the Levites as my unit, and whatever that is, the length, the proportions of the arms will be proportional to the populations. The largest one is to the east, 186,000 units, say. The shortest one to the west, and the other two nominally about the same. And what do you see there?
Cross.
You can't escape it, can you? This is probably what Balaam saw from the mountains of Moab when he was going to curse Israel. And we'll get to that in Numbers.
So just something, a little bit of an addition. I thought it's cool. I've seen it before. I don't exactly know how he comes to these various type of units and things like that, but looking at the numbers and knowing how strict the Jews are when it comes to following the law, it's very plausible on what he's saying there. And it's very cool to see, because it would be something that only has meaning to us at this point, you know?
It could be, if he was correct on that, it would most likely be he was created in Ankh,
Okay.
the Egyptian symbol, because so much of Genesis and Exodus is Egyptian culture. You know what I mean? Still cool.
Okay. I'm going to jump into chapter 3. Now, these are the records of Aaron and Moses when the Lord spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai. And these are the names of the sons of Aaron: Nadab, the firstborn, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These are the names of the sons of Aaron, the anointed priests whom he consecrated to minister as priests. Nadab and Abihu had died before the Lord when they offered profane fire before the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no children. So Eleazar and Ithamar ministered as priests in the presence of Aaron their father. So the one thing that jumped out to me right away is, what the heck were they offering? What does it mean by they were offering profane fire? So this is actually, there's a longer record of this interaction that happened in the book of Levi, or Leviticus. I keep saying Levi. In the book of Leviticus, and it explains that they had provided some strange fire that they did against what the instruction was. But when you look up what the definition of strange towards the fire is, it says to be a foreigner, strange, profane, specifically to commit adultery. And then it says to come from another place, man, fan, or go away. One of the things that we can look to as far as a pattern is that, do you guys remember the story of Hosea? What was unique about Hosea?
I'll give you a kiss in your bed.
Hosea was told to marry a prostitute. And he went and married this prostitute, had children with her. She went back to being a whore. He went back for her under God's instruction. And we see this kind of repeated type behavior going on. And the interaction that's happening there between Hosea and his wife is the same interaction between Israel and God. They would go after these foreign idols, and it would be considered adultery. They would go out and they would whore after these other idols. So I'm not exactly sure what they did as far as offering a strange fire. I think it's very unique where it says specifically to commit adultery, where they may have tried to do things in a prideful manner for themselves, and in doing such were killed by the fire. And there's a longer recollection of that in the book of Leviticus, that it's something that we could also touch on in the beginning of next week on why God chose the Levites, because it's actually right near that. So moving on to verse 5. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, bring the tribe of Levi near and present them before Aaron the priest, that they may serve him. and they shall attend to his needs and to the needs of the whole congregation before the tabernacle of meeting, to do the work of the tabernacle. Also, they shall attend to all the furnishings of the tabernacle of meeting, and to the needs of the children of Israel, to do the work of the tabernacle. And you shall give the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They are given entirely to him from among the children of Israel. So you shall appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall attend to their priesthood. But the outsider who comes near shall be put to death. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Now behold, I myself have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel instead of every firstborn who opens the womb among the children of Israel. Therefore, the Levites shall be mine, because all the firstborn are mine. On the day that I struck all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified to myself all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. They shall be mine, I am the Lord. Then the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, Number the children of Levi by their fathers' houses, by their families. You shall number every male from a month old and above. So Moses numbered them according to the word of the Lord, as he was commanded. These were the sons of Levi by their names: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And these are the names of the sons of Gershon by their families: Libni and Shimei. And the sons of Kohath by their families: Amram, Azihar, Hebron, and Uzziel. And the sons of Merari by their families: Mali and Mushi. These are the families of the Levites by their fathers' houses. From Gershon came the family of the Libnites and the family of the Shimites. These were the families of the Gershonites, those who were numbered according to the number of all the males from a month old and above. Of those who were numbered, there were 7,500. The families of the Gershonites were to camp behind the tabernacle westward, and the leader of the father's house of the Gershonites was Eliasaph, the son of Lael. The duties of the children of Gershon in the tabernacle of meeting included the tabernacle, the tent with its covering, the screen for the door of the tabernacle of meeting, the screen for the door of the court, the hangings of the court, which are around the tabernacle at the altar, and their cords according to all their work relating to them. From Kohath came the family of the Amramites, the family of the Ishurites, the family of the Hebronites, and the family of the Uzzielites. These were the families of the Kohathites. According to the number of all the males from a month old and above, there were 8,600 keeping charge of the sanctuary. The families of the children of Kohath were to camp on the south side of the tabernacle. And the leaders of the father's house of the families of the Kohathites was Elizaphan, the son of Uzziel. Their duty included the ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, the utensils of the sanctuary with which they ministered, the screen, and all the work relating to them. And Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, was to be chief over the leaders of the Levites, with oversight of those who kept charge of the sanctuary. From Merari came the family of the Mahalites, and the family of the Mushites. These were the families of Merari. And those who were numbered according to the number of all the males from a month old and above were 6,200. The leader of the fathers of the house of the families of Merari was Zuriel, the son of Abihail. These were to camp on the north side of the tabernacle, and the appointed duty of the children of Merari included the boards of the tabernacle, its bars, its pillars, its sockets, its utensils, all the work relating to them, and the pillars of the court all around, with their sockets, their pegs, and their cords. Moreover, those who were to camp before the tabernacle on the east, before the tabernacle of meeting, were Moses, Aaron, and his sons, keeping charge of the sanctuary to meet the needs of the children of Israel. But the outsider who came near was to be put to death. All who were numbered of the Levites, whom Moses and Aaron numbered at the commandment of their Lord, by their families, all the males from a month old and above were 22,000. Then the Lord said to Moses, number all the firstborn males of the children of Israel from a month old and above, and take the number of their names, and you shall take the Levites for me. I am the Lord. Instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel and the livestock of the Levites, instead of all the firstborn among the livestock of the children of Israel. So Moses numbered all the firstborn among the children of Israel as the Lord commanded him, and all the firstborn males according to the number of names from a month old and above, of those who were numbered of them were 22,273. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, take the Levites instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the livestock of the Levites instead of their livestock. The Levites shall be mine. I am the Lord. And for the redemption of the 273 of the firstborn of the children of Israel, who are more than the number of the Levites, you shall take 5 shekels for each one individually. You shall take them in currency of the shekel of the sanctuary, the shekel of 20 gerahs, and you shall give the money with which the excess number of them is redeemed to Aaron and his sons. So Moses took the redemption money from those who were over and above those who were redeemed by the Levites. From the firstborn, according to the children of Israel, he took the money, 1,365 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary. And Moses gave their redemption money to Aaron and his sons, according to the word of the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. So there's something unique going on here. I didn't quite understand it, but there is some insight here. And I believe this came straight from the eSword app as well. I'm just going to, oh no, where'd it go? Okay, I'm going to just read it to you guys here. It says, the Levites were taken instead of the firstborn sons of Israel to perform the service of the tabernacle. There was nearly as many Levites as firstborn, and the difference was made good by the payment of the redemption money on the part of the overplus. So each of us has been redeemed by the blood of the Lamb to belong to God and to minister to him. Aaron's family provided the priesthood. The rest of the tribe performed the more irksome duties of the ministry and transport. The Gershonites, as eldest, pitched westward of the tabernacle and cared for the hangings and curtains. The Kohenites, because related to Aaron, pitched southward and had charge over the sacred vessels. The Merarites pitched northward and had charge of the boards and sockets. It was enough for each to know that his place and charge were God appointed. Even to carry a pin became honorable when God had allotted that man, when God had allotted that to a man as his share. So I wish Miguel was here because I know for a fact he would know this one. But why do all these details matter when it comes to who and how the tabernacle should be transported? Do you guys recall of an instance where an individual went to move the Ark of the Covenant? What happened?
I did.
It was under David. Do you remember when that happened, Uncle Charlie?
Yeah, didn't he die because he was supposed to be in that area or something like that?
Yes. So David had seen that the tabernacle, or I should say the Ark of the Covenant, wasn't where it was. It was not. Gosh, oh my gosh, it's slipping my mind. Make a long story short, there were specific instructions on how this thing was to be moved. It was to be carried by hand through wooden poles. They thought it would be better to put it on a cart behind a donkey. As they were wheeling behind the donkey, it hit a bump as if it was going to fall over. And there was a man on the side that went to grab it so it didn't fall over, and he was struck dead immediately. Okay. And David was freaking out. Like, I can't believe this happened. This doesn't seem right. Well, in this instance, God gives very specific instructions on how these things are supposed to be moved and whatnot. And he took matters into his own hands, and he was wrong. So that we'll add that to next week, the exact scripture, because I want to say the guy's name was like Elihu or Eliadab or something like that. I can't recall, but I'll look it up. Shame on me. I should have had a slide on that too. Dang. So Numbers 4. When the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, take a census of the sons of Kohath from among the children of Levi by their families, by their father's house, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who enter the service to do the work in the tabernacle of meeting. This is the service of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of meeting, relating to the most holy things. When the camp prepares to journey, Aaron and his son shall come, and they shall take down the covering veil and cover the ark of the testimony with it. Then they shall put on it a covering of badger skins, and spread over that a cloth entirely of blue. Then they shall insert its poles. On the table of the showbread they shall spread the blue cloth, and put it on the dishes, the pans, the bowls, and the pitchers for pouring, and the showbread shall be on it. They shall spread over them a scarlet cloth, and cover the same with the covering of badger skins, and they shall insert its poles. And they shall take a blue cloth and cover the lampstand of the light, with its lamps, its wick trimmers, its trays, and all its oil vessels, with which they service it. Then they shall put it with all its utensils in a covering of badger skins, and put it on a carrying beam. What's going on here? Okay. Over the golden altar they shall spread a blue cloth and cover it with a covering of badger skins, and they shall insert its poles. Then they shall take all the utensils of service with which they minister in the sanctuary, put them in a blue cloth, cover them with a covering of badger skins, and put them on a carrying beam. Also they shall take away the ashes from the altar and spread a purple cloth over it. They shall put on it all its implements with which they minister there, the fire pans, the forks, the shovels, the basins, and all the utensils of the altar. And they shall spread on it a covering of badger skins, and insert its poles. And when Aaron and his sons have finished covering the sanctuary and all the furnishings of the sanctuary, when the camp is set to go, then the sons of Kohath shall come to carry them, but they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. These are the things in the tabernacle of the meeting which the sons of Kohath are to carry. The appointed duty of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest Aaron the priest, is the oil for the light, the sweet incense, the daily grain offering, the anointing oil, the oversight of all the tabernacle, of all that is in it, with the sanctuary and its furnishings. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, do not cut off the tribe of the families of the Kohathites from among the Levites, but do this in regard to them, that they may live and not die when they approach the most holy things. Aaron and his son shall go in and appoint each of them his service and his task, but they shall not go in to watch while the holy things are being covered, lest they die. The Lord then spoke to Moses, saying, also take a census of the sons of Gershon by their father's house, by their families, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, and you shall number them, all who enter to perform the service, to do the work in the tabernacle of meeting. This is the service of the families of the Gershonites in serving and carrying. They shall carry the curtains of the tabernacle and the tabernacle of meeting with its covering, the covering of badger skins that is on it, the screen for the door of the tabernacle of meeting, the screen for the door of the gate of the court, the hangings of the court which are around the tabernacle and altar and their courts, all the furnishings for their service, and all that is made for these things, so shall they serve. Aaron and his sons shall assign all the service of the sons of the Gershonites, all their tasks and all their service, and you shall appoint to them all their tasks as their duty. This is the service of the families of the sons of Gershon in the tabernacle of meeting, and their duties shall be under the authority of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. As for the sons of Merari, you shall number them by their families and by their father's house, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old. You shall number them, everyone who enters the service to do the work of the tabernacle of meeting. And this is what they must carry as all their service for the tabernacle of meeting: the boards of the tabernacle, its bars, its pillars, its sockets, and the pillars around the court with their sockets, pegs, and cords, with all their furnishings and all their service. And you shall assign to each man by name the items he must carry. This is the service of the families of the sons of Merari, as all their service for the tabernacle of meeting under the authority of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. And Moses, Aaron, and all the leaders of the congregation numbered the sons of the Kohathites by their families and their father's house from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, everyone who entered the service for work in the tabernacle of meeting, and those who were numbered by their families were 2,750. These were the ones who were numbered of the families of the Kohathites. All who might serve in the tabernacle of meeting, whom Moses and Aaron numbered according to the commandment of the Lord by the hand of Moses. And those who were numbered by the sons of Gershon by their families and by their father's house from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, everyone who entered the service of work in the tabernacle of meeting. Those who were numbered by their families by their father's house were 2,630. These are the ones who were numbered of the families of the sons of Gershon, and all who might serve in the tabernacle of meeting, whom Moses and Aaron numbered according to the commandment of the Lord, those of the families of the sons of Merari, who were numbered by their families, by their father's house from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, everyone who entered the service for work of the tabernacle of meeting, those who were numbered by their families were 3,200. These are the ones who were numbered of the families of the sons of Merari, whom Moses and Aaron numbered according to the word of the Lord by the hand of Moses. All who were numbered of the Levites, whom Moses, Aaron, and the leaders of Israel numbered by their families, by their fathers' houses, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, everyone who came to do the work of service and the work of bearing burdens in the tabernacle of meeting. Those who were numbered were 8,580. According to the commandment of the Lord, they were numbered by the hand of Moses, each according to his service and according to his task. Thus were they numbered by him, as the Lord commanded Moses. Okay, I'm going to stop at verse 4. We'll call it a night. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, command the children of Israel that they put out of the camp every leper, everyone who has a discharge, and whoever becomes defiled by a corpse. You shall put out both male and female. You shall put them outside of the camp, that they may not defile their camps in the midst of which I dwell. And the children of Israel did so, and put them outside of the camp as the Lord spoke to Moses. So the children of Israel did. And next week, we are going to continue on from Numbers chapter 5, verse 5, and we are going to attempt to get to chapter 10. But the homework for this week is to find out why God chose the Levites. And I want you guys to find what scripture or what verse would support God's decision towards choosing the Levites. And then, what was the name of the guy who died for touching the ark while David was transporting it improperly? And what did they do? What's that?
Was it Uzzah?
I said homework. Who is this? Yeah, I think it was Uzziah or something like that. Uzziah, that sounds right. All right, thanks a lot. Well, just read that little section that goes along with the guy who touched the ark.
Read 5 to what?
Numbers chapter 5 to 10. And then that we'll call that it for today.
And then what?
What about Levi?
Question you wanted?
Why did God choose the Levites? Is there a definite answer? We'll look into it.